The NBA offseason is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in years, with rumors swirling that multiple big-time stars could be on the move. But in all this buzz, there's one team flying under the radar, the San Antonio Spurs. For some reason, they're being left out of the conversation. But make no mistake, the Spurs are quietly preparing for a pivotal moment in their franchise's future. For the first time in 30 years, the legendary Greg Popovich won't be the head coach. That alone signals a turning point. And then there's Victor Wembanyama, Wemby, the generational talent around whom this entire organization is now revolving. Last season, Wemby missed every game after the All-Star break due to a medical issue, and the team ended with just 34 wins. On paper, it doesn't look like much. But beneath the surface, there's something special brewing. This is one of the most exciting young cores in the NBA. And despite last year's struggles, the Spurs are perfectly positioned to make a big leap forward. They've built a solid foundation, and now they're looking for that one missing piece to take them from a rebuilding team to a contender. All of this urgency comes back to Wemby. He's heading into his third season, and there's a growing understanding in San Antonio that they can't waste any time. When you've got a superstar big man, a player of Wemby's size and skill, you know the clock is ticking. Historically, players like him don't have long windows at their peak. Injuries, wear, and tear, it catches up faster than most teams expect. That's why the Spurs are breaking away from their usual patient approach. This isn't the methodical, slow-build strategy we've seen in the past. Instead, they're looking to act aggressively this offseason. The goal? Surround Wemby with the right talent while he's healthy and ascending. Because if they wait too long, that opportunity might slip away. Adding to this urgency is the presence of De'Aaron Fox, a dynamic guard who joined the team mid-season after an unexpected trade from the Kings. Fox is in need of a new contract soon, and pairing him with Wemby gives San Antonio a rare inside-outside duo to build around. The Spurs know they have something special, and they don't want to squander it. With a young core, future draft assets, and a superstar anchoring their team, the Spurs are poised to make serious moves. But the big question is, who will they target to complete the puzzle? While Victor Wembanyama remains the undeniable centerpiece of the San Antonio Spurs, the organization hasn't been sitting quietly waiting for him to develop in isolation. Over the past season, they've quietly assembled a core group of young, promising players who complement Wemby's unique skill set. At the forefront of this supporting cast is Steph Castle, the rookie who made an immediate impact and walked away with Rookie of the Year honors. Castle may not be destined to be a franchise superstar, but he brings a toughness, versatility, and two-way impact that every winning team needs. Some compare him to players like Marcus Smart or Jalen Suggs, gritty defenders, smart playmakers, capable of hitting big shots when it matters. But Castle might even have a higher offensive ceiling as he continues to grow, potentially developing into a more reliable on-ball creator without needing to dominate possessions. That balance makes him a perfect complement alongside Wemby. Then there's Dion Vell, an underrated but critical piece in the Spurs lineup. Vell has quietly carved out a niche as a strong off-ball player, someone who thrives running off screens, spotting up for threes, and attacking closeouts. Over time, he's also shown flashes as a pick-and-roll ball handler, though with other ball-dominant players now in the mix, Vell can focus more on his strengths as a floor spacer and cutter. His presence adds a level of flexibility to the offense, giving Wemby and other creators more room to operate. Of course, the most surprising addition to this core came mid-season when De'Aaron Fox arrived in San Antonio following an unexpected fallout with the Sacramento Kings. After the Kings fired coach Mike Brown, Fox became frustrated with the direction of the franchise. With his contract situation looming, he made it clear he wasn't interested in re-signing. The Kings, looking to avoid losing him for nothing, shipped him to San Antonio in a trade that didn't cost the Spurs a significant haul. For the Spurs, it was a steal. Fox brought instant star power, elite speed, and shot creation, instantly forming a dynamic 1-2 punch with Wemby. With this core in place, Wemby, Fox, Castle, and Vell, the Spurs have built a solid foundation. But the front office knows they're still one big move away from being true contenders. That's where the rumors of Devin Booker and Giannis Antetokounmpo come into play. Let's start with Devin Booker. Around the league, there's speculation that Booker might eventually grow frustrated in Phoenix, especially if the Suns fail to build a championship-caliber team around him. Even with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal by his side, the Suns have struggled to break through in the playoffs. And if Booker looks at the next few seasons and sees no clear path to a title, he could very well decide to seek a new chapter. For the Spurs, Booker would be an ideal fit. He's younger than some of the other stars potentially on the market, aligning better with San Antonio's overall age timeline. He brings elite shot creation, clutch scoring, and playoff experience, exactly the type of perimeter force who could thrive next to Wemby's inside-out offensive game. Booker wouldn't need to adjust much. His offensive versatility would allow him to flow seamlessly with Fox and Wemby. And from Booker's perspective, joining a rising Spurs team with a young superstar big man and a proven all-star guard could be a tempting proposition. Then there's Giannis Antetokounmpo, a name that would send shockwaves through the NBA if he ever requested a trade. While there's currently no formal indication that Giannis is ready to leave Milwaukee, the league is watching closely. Should the Bucks fall short in the playoffs again, or if internal dissatisfaction grows, Giannis might start to explore his options. Imagine a front-court pairing of Wemby and Giannis, two of the most physically gifted, versatile defenders in the league sharing the court, protecting the rim, switching onto guards, flying in transition. Offensively, Giannis' relentless attacking style would be perfectly complemented by Wemby's floor spacing and finesse. Wemby could play a Brook Lopez-type role for Giannis, but with even more dynamic offensive skills. Together, they'd form a duo that could dominate both ends of the floor and strike fear into every opponent. Of course, landing either Booker or Giannis wouldn't be easy. It would require significant trade assets, and the Spurs would likely have to part with at least one of their core players, possibly Castle or Vell, in any package. That's where the challenge lies. How much of their young foundation are they willing to sacrifice to get another star? But make no mistake, the Spurs are keeping a close eye on these possibilities. They've accumulated valuable assets, including multiple first-round picks, like the unprotected Hawks picks in 2025 and 2027. They have the tools to swing a blockbuster deal. Now it's a matter of whether the right star becomes available, and whether the Spurs are ready to push their chips to the center of the table. As the San Antonio Spurs weigh their options this offseason, there's a growing sense that Kevin Durant might be the most realistic big-name star they can target and actually acquire. On the surface, it might seem surprising. Durant is older than players like Devin Booker or Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's dealt with injuries, he's already won titles, and he's played for high-profile franchises. Why would a superstar like KD want to end up in San Antonio? But when you take a closer look, it starts to make sense, and the opportunity could be perfect for both Durant and the Spurs. Let's start with the trade logistics. One of the biggest reasons Durant is the most attainable superstar is because the Spurs could potentially get him without sacrificing their core players. Unlike a trade for Giannis or Booker, which would almost certainly require giving up someone like Steph Castle, Dion Vell, or even De'Aaron Fox, a deal for Durant could be structured around role players, expiring contracts, and draft picks. Salary matching wouldn't be easy, but it's doable. Players like Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochan, Blake Wesley, they could be packaged together along with future first-round picks, including the unprotected Hawks picks the Spurs are holding. This kind of deal would allow San Antonio to add Durant to their lineup while keeping their core intact. Imagine a starting five of Durant, Wemby, Fox, Castle, and Vell. That's a dangerous mix of size, skill, and versatility that few teams in the league could match. For Phoenix, the trade would allow them to reset around Devin Booker, giving him more complementary pieces and draft capital. And for Durant, it offers a chance to join a team where he doesn't have to carry the burden of being the primary option every night. At this stage in his career, that's an attractive proposition. Because, let's be honest, Durant shouldn't be the best player on a championship team anymore. His days of being the dominant number one guy are likely behind him. But in San Antonio, he wouldn't have to be. That's Wemby's team now. Wemby is the focal point, the rising superstar, the franchise player around whom everything is built. Durant's role would be to support, elevate and complement Wemby's game, while providing the veteran leadership and shot-making that's essential in the playoffs. And that's exactly why this fit makes so much sense. Wemby brings defense, rim protection, and floor spacing. Durant brings elite scoring, mid-range mastery, and a wealth of postseason experience. Together, they could form one of the most unique frontcourt pairings in the NBA, a blend of youth and experience, size and skill, versatility and leadership. But it's not all upside. There are risks involved, and the Spurs front office knows it. The most obvious concern is Durant's durability. He's been in the league since 2007, and over the past few seasons, injuries, particularly to his lower body, have piled up. It feels like every year now, Durant is missing chunks of the regular season due to various ailments. If you're the Spurs, that's a real issue. You're trying to build a contender around Wemby, and you need players who are reliable and available, especially in the postseason. There's also the contract situation. Durant will be seeking a new deal soon, and locking him up for big money could limit the Spurs' flexibility down the road. Between paying Durant, Fox, and eventually Wemby, the team could end up financially tied to a core that's both expensive and potentially fragile. If Durant's injuries continue, or if the chemistry doesn't click the way they hope, San Antonio could find itself stuck, committed to a roster that's good, but not great, and with no easy way to pivot. Even so, the upside is undeniable. Landing Kevin Durant would instantly give the Spurs championship credibility. It would send a message to the league. San Antonio is done waiting. They're ready to compete, ready to take advantage of Wemby's prime years right now. And for Durant, San Antonio might offer exactly what he needs at this point in his career, a chance to chase another ring without having to carry the load, surrounded by young talent and depth, and with the freedom to play his game, without the nightly pressure of being the guy. The question isn't whether the Spurs want Durant. The question is whether they're willing to take the gamble, and whether Durant himself is open to embracing San Antonio as his next and possibly final NBA home. As the dust settles on trade rumors and potential deals, one thing becomes clear. The San Antonio Spurs cannot afford to wait. Whether they're able to land Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Giannis Antetokounmpo, or another superstar, the franchise knows time is not on their side. The stakes are higher than they've been in decades, and it all comes back to one undeniable reality. Victor Wembanyama's window won't stay open forever. Look around the league, and history tells a sobering story. Big men, especially those with unique size and skill like Wemby, often face shorter primes than their guard or wing counterparts. Their bodies endure more stress. Their lower limbs, knees, feet, ankles carry more weight and absorb more impact. It's a pattern we've seen time and again. Think about Joel Embiid. Just a few years ago, Embiid was dominating the league, winning an MVP, leading the Sixers deep into the playoffs. The future looked bright, and yet, injuries kept piling up. Now, as Embiid crosses into his 30s, questions swirl about whether he can ever return to his peak form. The same was true for Yao Ming, whose towering presence electrified Houston before injuries cut his career short. These cautionary tales loom large for any team building around a generational big man. For the Spurs, this isn't about pessimism. It's about urgency. They can't assume Wemby will be at his absolute best 5 or 6 years from now. They can't afford to wait until he's 26 or 27 to surround him with elite talent. If they do, they risk building the perfect team too late, at a point where Wemby's body may have already endured the wear and tear that limits big men as they age. That's why this offseason is so pivotal. The Spurs must capitalize on Wemby's early prime, while he's healthy, improving, and hungry. They've already made aggressive moves, like the unexpected mid-season acquisition of De'Aaron Fox. Now they're poised to push even further. The front office knows they have assets, young talent, valuable draft picks, and financial flexibility. The question isn't whether they can make a move, it's whether they have the courage to make the right one. And while Kevin Durant offers the most realistic star acquisition without sacrificing the core, even that move comes with risks. His injuries, his age, the looming contract extension, all create uncertainty. But in today's NBA, sitting back and waiting for the perfect scenario is a luxury few teams can afford. Boldness wins. Aggression wins. The Spurs, traditionally one of the league's most patient franchises, now find themselves in uncharted waters. But it's not just about acquiring a big name for the sake of headlines. It's about sending a message to Wemby, to Fox, to the locker room, and to the entire NBA. A message that says, we believe in this core. We're serious about competing. And we're not here to waste anyone's time. There are still plenty of unknowns. Will Booker ever ask out of Phoenix? Could Giannis reach a breaking point in Milwaukee? Will Durant view San Antonio as his best chance at another ring? Each scenario carries its own complexities. And it's possible none of these stars become realistically available. But even if the Spurs strike out on the biggest names, expect them to remain aggressive. Whether it's trading for an all-star, adding key veterans, or making smart draft day moves, the franchise is determined to accelerate Wemby's path toward contention. They understand the opportunity they have: a generational player, a clean cap sheet, multiple future picks, and a young, hungry roster. That combination doesn't come around often. The NBA is changing fast. Super teams rise and fall. Injuries derail dynasties. Contracts shift power dynamics in an instant. For the Spurs, waiting patiently for the right moment could mean missing the moment altogether. This offseason won't be easy. It won't be risk-free. But for San Antonio, it's a necessary gamble. The franchise that once built dynasties through patience and long-term development must now embrace a new identity, one built around urgency, aggression, and an unwavering commitment to maximizing Victor Wembanyama's prime. The clock is ticking. And the Spurs know, if they're going to go all in, it has to be now.